Good morning. My name is Stephanie Pipke-Painchaud, and Eric and Cheryl have asked me to present to you today on how TMSS went from using the behavior matrix to the behavior wheel. And in just a moment, I'll share the story of how that happened. I'm sorry I'm unable to be there in person today, so I've pre-recorded this for you. If you have any questions after the presentation, feel free to give me a call or catch up with me later on in the week. I'm sorry I'm not able to attend this morning. Now, if you're thinking that I look familiar, you probably remember me from OneNote for RTI. I think sometimes people call me Stephanie OneNote. You might also remember me from a rubrics presentation of last year, or if you attended the co-teaching or flipped learning sessions in the last few days, I've also been presenting at those. So, without any further ado, let's get on to the plan for today. In the beginning, there was Tom Shiver's in-service in March of 2012, which inspired TMSS to form the school climate team. And that's when I heard Sharon LaFlamme speak at our DILC, which inspired me to wonder if it was possible to turn the matrix into a medicine wheel. Further ado, let's get started talking about how TMSS moved from a behavior matrix to a behavior wheel. So all of the information is available to staff through the TMSS staff handbook, which is now available online. Neil had set up the committee last year so that half of the committee was working on a school-wide behavior plan. So we have our behavior plan loaded up online. This goes through the different levels of behavior that you've heard us refer to with regard to TPM. So all of that information is up and posted there. Well, part of the team was working on this. The other half of the team, myself and Pat White, we were working on turning what we had for a behavior matrix and updating it into a behavior wheel. So we have information available for conversations that teachers can have with students when they're introducing them to the wheel. We have location-specific information to reinforce what's on the wheel, because we believe what's on the wheel is something that should be happening in all locations. These are common items that apply to everything. So I've prepped a web page for us this morning to go through and take a quick look. And so we've already started with the staff handbook. Let's take a closer look at the behavior wheel. So you'll see the behavior wheel in front of you. So we went from the matrix to the behavior wheel. And on the very outside, we have what were the original parts of the matrix. So you can see the original matrix had respect self, others, and property, being responsible, and choosing to learn. And then across the top, it covered all of the different areas, including classrooms, hallways, computer labs, libraries, bus, outside of school property, lunch areas, assemblies, lots of very detailed information. We found that a lot of the items in here, for example, being polite, applied in all of the different areas, respecting yourself and others, taking care of school property, all of those things were consistent in the different parts of the matrix. So when we went to the wheel, the idea was that we picked themes that were common to all of those areas and put them into the 4 quadrants. So if you look at the very outside of the wheel here, we have respecting the environment, respecting self and others, which came off the original matrix. We just divided that one into 2. We have choosing to learn and personal responsibility. So those are our 4 key parts to what would have been our original matrix, now in the form of a wheel. The next layer that you see here refers to school strategies and actions. So creating a caring, positive school climate, digital and engaged citizenship, excellence in academics, all of those on this ring, for example, apply to our school strategies and actions. So we've aligned those. The next level is the part of the original medicine wheel. So when you look here, we have belonging, mastery, independence, and generosity. So these are all items that came off of the original medicine wheel, and the reason that we chose to go with a medicine wheel is when Sharon LaFlamme had talked to us at our DILC last year, she talked about how the medicine wheel represented all types of people. And so I wondered, would it be possible to convert our behavior matrix into a wheel, and this is what we came up with. Now you'll notice on the inside, so in here, Each of those quadrants focuses on items, for example, respect to self and others. So I choose to respect myself by making positive choices. We went with 4 options within each, 4 being a sacred number, and we chose to work with Sharon LaFlamme to help phrase those in a positive way. So we've tried to pick 4 key aspects to each part. All of the things on this wheel apply to every location. So regardless of where you are in the building, these are things that we should be seeing on an ongoing basis. Now, you might have questions about if you're in the library or the computer lab, are there very specific things that we expect? And the answer is yes. So school-wide, we have developed basically a location-specific matrix. So if you're in the foods room, for example, we would expect you to consume food and drinks only while seated at the table, clean up and put away all equipment. So these items can be posted up specifically for those areas, and that way we have our consistent wheel going through all of the main items, and then we have that specific information available. We've also created a Google presentation so teachers can easily run through the expectations in different areas of the school. So if you're in a computer lab, you could print this out and post it up on the wall next to our behavior wheel. So we do address location-specific items just in a slightly different way. Now, upon the advice of Sharon LaFlamme, we also developed a discussion guide for students and teachers. So because the wheel was new to us and we were making a concerted effort to introduce this to our students and to the staff, we brainstormed some ways that people could start conversations with the students. So for example, it's my responsibility to act appropriately, which comes off of the wheel. Here's the things that we're referring to in this. You can have a discussion with the students and help them to understand, and like Tom Schimmer talks about, once we teach them the expectations, practice that, then they can begin to generate their own examples of what fits into the wheel. So this is a way for us to help start that process. So we've talked about the wheel and the different parts of the wheel. We've discussed location-specific items. We've gone through how we have a discussion guide for our students and teachers to work through and start those conversations so they know what we expect and we can practice those examples. We've been through the behavior wheel. The next step of the process is working through the next part, which I'm just going to introduce. Randy Kerr will be the next speaker up today. So what they have done is created an item called Working the Wheel, and for their student-led conferences, they deal with parts of our behavior matrix, essentially the wheel. And Randy is going to take you through the different aspects of the wheel and the checklist that they fill in response to that. So hopefully this has given you opportunity to see a different version of what the matrix might look like. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to send me an email or give me a call. I will be back in the office this week. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.